Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. Book, A New Earth Awakening to Your Life's Purpose by Eckhart Tolle. Wake up, right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, but this very moment. There's a life waiting for you beyond the fog of thought, beyond the illusions of the ego, beyond the pain you've carried for years. Eckhart Tolle calls it the awakening of consciousness, a new earth born in the presence of this very breath. The ego tells you you are separate, never enough, always chasing, always striving. It thrives on fear, comparison, conflict. But here's the secret. The ego cannot survive awareness. The moment you watch it, it begins to dissolve. Beneath the ego lies the pain body, old hurt, anger, resentment. It drives reactions, fuels conflict, and traps you in the past. But presence, the pure, conscious now, is the key. Watch it, witness it, do not feed it, and watch freedom rise. Life's true purpose is not success, not status, not achievement. It is awakening. It is being fully alive, fully present, fully you. Every action, every relationship, every choice becomes infused with meaning when you step beyond ego, beyond pain, and into presence. This is your moment. Your awakening starts here. Breathe, observe, be, and step into the life and the world you were always meant to create. Part 1. The Flowering of Human Consciousness. Imagine for a moment a world in which people move through their days as sleepwalkers, caught in thought patterns, compulsions, and unconscious behaviors that seem normal, yet strip life of its profound meaning. This is the world Eckhart Tolle confronts from the very first pages of A New Earth. He does not speak merely as a philosopher or spiritual teacher. He speaks as a guide who has navigated the depths of human suffering and emerged into luminous clarity. The call of this book is urgent. Awaken before it is too late. Not just for yourself, but for the collective life of humanity. Tolle begins by pointing to what he calls the ego, the false self. This is not a mere psychological construct. It is an insidious presence that lives in every human mind, crafting stories of separateness, superiority, inferiority, and endless desire. The ego is clever. It feeds on comparison, judgment, and identification with forms, status, possessions, and even thoughts themselves. And yet Tolle warns, our identification with the ego is the root cause of almost all human dysfunction, conflict, anxiety, depression, and environmental destruction alike. It is a silent prison, often invisible, because we are so intimately entangled with it. But Tolle does not leave us in despair. He illuminates a path through what might seem like darkness. He challenges the reader to notice the subtle shift from unconscious being to conscious presence. This awakening begins with awareness, being able to observe the ego, thoughts, and emotions without being consumed by them. When you watch your mind as an observer, Tolle asserts, you discover a new dimension of yourself, a deep stillness, a conscious life that is no longer dictated by compulsive patterns. This is the seed of the new earth. He introduces a concept both simple and revolutionary, the pain body. This is the emotional residue of unconscious suffering that lives within all human beings. It is the collective and individual emotional energy of pain, grief, anger, and resentment that, when unrecognized, erupts in destructive behaviors. Tolle shows us how the pain body is fed by identification with thought and emotional drama. And he teaches that by simply observing it, without resistance or attachment, it begins to dissolve. Liberation, he promises, is possible in the very moment of present awareness. Tolle then shifts our attention, to the illusion of time. So much of human suffering, he explains, comes from obsession with past regrets or future anxieties. The ego constantly projects itself into yesterday or tomorrow, missing the one place where life truly unfolds, the present moment. By anchoring consciousness in the now, the mind quiets, the pain body loses its grip, and a profound inner peace becomes accessible. This is not passive resignation. It is active presence, fully awake, fully engaged with life, yet free from the tyranny of compulsive thought. Finally, Part 1 builds toward a vision both personal and universal. Tolle invites us to imagine a new Earth, one that emerges not from political movements or external change alone, but from a shift in human consciousness. He is relentless in his optimism. When enough individuals awaken, the collective vibration of consciousness transforms, creating a world where peace, compassion, and purpose can flourish. The first step, he insists, is inner awakening. Without it, the outer transformation will always falter. In these opening pages, Tolle achieves something extraordinary. He simultaneously diagnoses the sickness of humanity and provides the medicine. He moves us from recognition of the ego's tyranny to glimpses of a liberated consciousness. And he makes it clear, this is not an abstract spiritual exercise. It is the very essence of life's purpose, to awaken, to become fully present, and to participate in the flowering of human consciousness. By the end of Part 1, you are no longer just a reader. You are an active witness, a participant in a revolution that begins within. Tolle has done more than write a book. He has issued a clarion call to awaken, to claim your life's purpose, and to step into a new earth, one conscious breath at a time. Part 2, the ego and the unmasking of the false self. As we step into Part 2, the journey deepens. Tolle now turns a powerful spotlight on the ego in action, not as an abstract concept, but as the invisible force shaping human thought, behavior, and suffering. The ego is the mind's relentless storyteller, constantly weaving a sense of me versus you, mine versus yours. It thrives on judgment, comparison, and the need for validation. What Tolle makes crystal clear is that the ego is deceptively seductive. It masquerades as identity. Yet it is nothing but a construct, an illusion feeding off fear, desire, and separation. He introduces the concept of egoic patterns, the predictable ways the ego reacts to life. It craves attention, power, and control. It thrives on conflict and drama, and crucially, it resists being seen for what it is. Here lies the paradox. The ego cannot survive awareness. When you watch your mind, when you observe your thoughts without being consumed, the ego loses its grip. This is not about suppression, discipline, or moralizing. It is about seeing clearly, recognizing the false self, and stepping into the stillness that lies beyond thought. Part 2 also explores the pain body, a term Tolle uses to describe the stored emotional energy of past pain. Unlike fleeting feelings, the pain body is persistent and often unconscious, lurking beneath the surface. It thrives on identification with old hurt and conflict. When triggered, it seeks to feed itself, sometimes erupting as anger, jealousy, or sadness. Yet Tolle provides a revolutionary insight. The pain body can be dissolved through conscious presence. By witnessing its activation without feeding it with thought or emotion, the energy begins to dissipate. You do not fight it. You do not resist it. You simply observe it, and in that observation lies liberation. Tolle does not leave these ideas in abstraction. He brings them into daily life, illustrating how ego and pain body manifest in relationships, work, and societal structures. Arguments with colleagues, familial conflicts, feelings of inadequacy or resentment, all are traced back to unconscious identification with the ego or activation of the pain body. But here is the brilliance of Toll's teaching. Every moment contains the possibility for awakening. Every ordinary interaction, when met with awareness, becomes a doorway to presence. He then delves into the profound truth of the present moment. While ego lives in the past or future, consciousness thrives in the now. Toll repeatedly emphasizes, the present is not merely a temporal point. It is the doorway to freedom. When you anchor your awareness in the present, you step out of compulsive thought, out of suffering, and into a state of profound aliveness. The ego becomes transparent. The pain body loses power. Life is no longer a struggle, but a dance of conscious participation. What emerges in Part 2 is a practical yet revolutionary toolkit: awareness of the ego in thought and behavior, recognition and observation of the pain body, anchoring in the present moment. These tools are not spiritual luxury. They are survival mechanisms for the evolution of human consciousness. Toll's message is urgent: awaken within, or remain unconscious while the world continues to spiral in conflict. He gently, yet insistently reminds us that consciousness is not abstract. It is life itself, the very essence of who we are, waiting to be realized. Part 2 closes with a sense of both challenge and possibility. You are called to observe, recognize, and step beyond the false self, to experience the depth of life, not as thought constructs, but as conscious being. The inner shift is subtle, yet seismic. Once this awakening begins, everything in life changes: the way you relate to yourself, to others, and to the world. The new earth is not distant. It is born in this very moment, in the spaces between thoughts, in the presence that quietly witnesses all. Part 3, Living in Awakening, the New Earth Realized. As we arrive at Part 3, Toll lifts the curtain on the ultimate promise of this awakening: the transformation of life itself. He now guides the reader from awareness into action, not as doing for the ego, but as living from presence. The previous parts revealed the mechanics, egoic patterns, the pain body, and the power of the present moment. Now, Part 3 is about integration, about stepping fully into conscious existence and living a life aligned with your deepest purpose. Toll emphasizes a radical idea: true purpose is found not in achievement, possession, or status, but in presence itself. Life's purpose is not a goal to chase in the future. It is the flowering of consciousness in the now. When you become fully aware, your actions naturally align with what matters most, and your life begins to radiate meaning effortlessly. You no longer act from fear, ambition, or egoic desire. Your actions flow from clarity, love, and conscious choice. He explores the role of surrender, which is often misunderstood. Surrender is not resignation, weakness, or passivity. It is the relinquishing of resistance to the present moment, the letting go of the constant struggle with life as it is. By surrendering, you step out of the ego's endless conflict. You stop feeding the pain body, and you open yourself to the intelligence of the universe. Decisions become clearer, relationships transform, and your inner peace becomes a powerful force in the world. Tolle also illustrates how awakened individuals can influence the collective consciousness. The new earth is not merely a metaphor. It is the tangible result of many individuals awakening. Every conscious choice, every act of compassion, and every moment of presence contributes to a shift in humanity. The transformation is quiet but unstoppable, like ripples expanding across water. Individual awakening creates a wave of conscious evolution, and the world begins to change in ways both subtle and profound. One of the most compelling insights of Part 3 is Toll's vision of relationships as a spiritual laboratory. Interpersonal conflict, he explains, becomes a mirror for the ego and the pain body. When approached consciously, relationships are no longer battlegrounds, but opportunities for growth, presence, and love. The challenge is to interact from awareness rather than reaction, to see beyond the false self in others and recognize the underlying consciousness that connects all life. Ultimately, Part 3 leaves the reader with a profound call to action. Live awake, fully and consciously. It is no longer enough to simply notice the ego or observe the pain body. The culmination of Toll's teaching is to embody presence in every aspect of life: work, relationships, creativity, and service. This is the essence of the new earth, a world in which consciousness, compassion, and purpose shape our reality. Toll closes with hope and clarity. The transformation begins with one person, one moment, one conscious breath. The new earth is not something we wait for. It is created now, by living awake, fully aware, and aligned with life's highest purpose. Each step toward presence is a step toward freedom, toward a life of deep fulfillment, and toward a world that resonates with the consciousness of its awakened inhabitants. The journey is clear. Awaken to the present moment. Disidentify from the ego and the pain body. Live fully, consciously, and in alignment with your deepest purpose. This is the new earth, born not of ideology or invention, but of the flowering of human consciousness itself. Period. 3 key insights and takeaways from the book. Key insight 1. The ego is the source of unconscious suffering. The ego is not just pride or vanity. It is the false self, the thought-based identity that keeps us trapped in fear, comparison, and endless desire. It thrives on separation, judgment, and conflict, creating suffering in every corner of life, personal, social, and even global. Takeaway: by observing the ego without identifying with it, you can begin to step out of compulsive thought patterns. Awareness is the first and most powerful step toward liberation. Once you witness your ego in action, it loses its grip, and space opens for conscious, intentional living. Key insight 2. Conscious presence dissolves the pain body. The pain body is the accumulated emotional residue of past suffering, often unconscious and triggered repeatedly in daily life. Left unchecked, it fuels anger, resentment, and conflict. Toll's breakthrough teaching, simply observing it in the present moment without resistance, neutralizes it. Takeaway: you are not your emotions. You are the conscious witness of your emotions. By practicing presence, anchoring awareness in the now, you stop feeding the pain body and transform suffering into clarity and peace. This is the core tool for inner freedom. Key insight 3. Life's true purpose is found in presence, not achievement. Many chase purpose in goals, status, or accomplishments, but Toll reveals that true purpose is consciousness itself. When you live awake, present, and aligned with the deeper intelligence of life, action naturally flows with meaning. Relationships, work, and every moment become opportunities to express your highest self. Takeaway: surrender to the present moment, live consciously, and let action flow from awareness rather than ego. The more individuals awaken, the more the collective consciousness shifts, creating a new earth of peace, compassion, and purpose. In short, 1. Observe your ego. Don't identify with it. 2. Witness your pain body. Don't feed it. 3. Live in presence. Align action with consciousness. Master these, and life transforms from unconscious struggle into awake, purposeful living. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries.